All-Star Superman is my definitive Superman. This version of Clark defines everything Superman stands for and more. I know there's a big buzz around the name and like All-Star Superman because James Gunn is basing some of Superman legacy on this book. And I get that because it's a great read, even for new readers. It's not a long series, it's like 12 issues or something like that. It's very digestible and has beginning, middle and end. The story starts and is wrapped up with a satisfying end in a short amount of time. Very reader friendly for new people that may have never read a Superman story. Grant Morrison really hit a home run with this one. So let's begin, shall we? A doomed planet. Two desperate scientists. Their last hope. And a kindly couple. Add this all together and you get
faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings at a single bound. The infant of Krypton is now the Man of Steel, Superman!
On a small spacecraft hurtling towards the sun, where 4 scientists sent there to collect a small spoonful of the sun, but their gravity shields have failed along with their engine, and to make things worse, there was a genetically modified human suicide bomb on board, courtesy of Lex Luthor, of course. The man from planet Krypton was a living solar battery. That's where he got his powers after all. But the temperature was too much. It was 6,000 degrees Fahrenheit. Meanwhile, Lois and the rest of the gang are gathered around her office space, trying to write Superman's next big headline. Superman rescues son mission, they're thinking. But this was all Lex's fault, as usual. He lied. He invested in water by damming more than 15 rivers, with intent to profit from a water shortage, and then he went ahead and tampered with the sun. What a man. Tomorrow's headline will be that Lex Luthor lied. The story of the century, he says. Lex is in his lab remotely controlling a weapon controlled by his voice. An officer walks in the room and asks why he's messing with the sun. They only released him because he promised to work for the US and not build giant kryptonite robots and death traps for Superman. But he's Lex Luthor. But he looked in the mirror a few months ago and noticed some crow's feet and realised that he's getting older. But Superman isn't. Fusion will occur in 30, not if I can help it. He wants Superman dead so he can die happy. The human bomb tells Superman that his only existence is to blow up. He doesn't have the right to stop him. But he says he's here to help with that. They begin to struggle, and Superman uses his freezing cold breath to blow him away towards the Earth's only sun. Afterwards, they're running tests on him, like him pushing against the equivalent of 200 quintillion tons. His strength has tripled. He's gained new powers. But that's the good news. The bad news is, his little trip to the sun has exposed him to critical levels of stellar radiation. He's dying. He can see the tiny fireworks under his skin. He knows. Luthor has used them to kill Superman. They begin to show him what they have prepared for a life without Superman. Giant Bizarro drones. They're building a new race of superhumans in case you know what happens. They unveil their Voyager Titan to him. It's mentally preparing itself for centuries in deep space exploration. But all he can think of is, no one must know. Not yet. He has some unfinished business. Back on Earth, Superman reverts to his clumsy human persona, Clark Kent, and stumbles into his office, while Lex is being arrested. Again. Thank God, put me away, boys. Before I do something really terrible to Superman, he says with an evil grin. Clark is walking Lois home and he thinks to himself, it's finally time to tell her. Lois, please stop talking for 1 second. I have something to tell you. Clark Kent? Clark Kent? She keeps on saying it over and over again. She doesn't believe it's him. Now that he has finally revealed his secret identity to Lois Lane, he's taking her somewhere sacred to him. They land and she gets out. This is my fortress of solitude, he says. They are greeted by some Superman robots. He goes on to place the key on the floor and she says that can't be safe. He tells her to try and lift it, go ahead. She can't. He says he's the only one that can lift it. It weighs 500,000 tons. They head in and he shows her where he goes to get some peace and quiet. He proceeds to show her some weapons he's confiscated over the years, like a Kryptonian laser. She then asks if there are any lasting effects from his little bath in the sun. Never better, he says, knowing he's lying. He then shows her Kal Kent, the Man of Steel of tomorrow, Superman of the year 85,230 AD. The fortress isn't a museum, it's a time capsule. One day someone will pick up that key, open that door, and they will feel how it felt to live at the dawn of the age of superheroes. They go into a dark room and he shows off his baby sun heater. What do you feed him? She asks. Well, suns, he says, as he picks up a giant hammer and smashes away at his sun. Bon appetit. She sees a door open and goes in while he's not looking, and finds one of them robots inside in a weird room filled with body scans. Don't go in there, he says. You can go anywhere, but not there. Later they sit down for dinner, inside the Titanic by the way, but she still can't get over the fact that he is Clark. You were right all along. Aren't you happy, he says. After a while they finish up, and he goes to his mirror of truth. How can I tell her I only wanted us to have this time together because it may be our last? How can I spoil her birthday with the news that I'm dying? While he's not looking, Lois darts into the room with future Superman. Superman of 4500 AD appears. You may ask 3 questions, he says. She asks if she will ever marry Superman and have his children, and he doesn't really answer. Reception is poor, he says. Just then, 2 Superbots turn the corner and try to escort her out of the room, but she runs. She grabs the Kryptonian gun and calls Superman. God forgive me, she says. Superman, she screams, pointing the laser at the opening door. It opens and she blasts him with it. Ow, he says. What have I done, she thinks. Interesting way to discover that I've become immune to green kryptonite radiation. Tickles, he says. What was that room, she demands. He's reluctant but tells her that it's his sewing room, and he was making her birthday present. Happy birthday, Lois Lane. Go on, open it. What is it? It's my superpowers in liquid form. Happy birthday, Lois. She gets to be like him for a day. Back in Metropolis, the place is getting smashed up by what looks to be dinosaurs that can speak. This shouldn't take long, he said. He didn't want this to happen on her birthday, but she's loving it. She goes straight for them, but someone seems to have beaten them to the punch. They land and they see who it is. It's Samson. Meanwhile, he just threw the giant dinosaur into space, smashing a satellite. Superman doesn't look happy to see him. The last time they met, he was travelling to the year 2061 to look for treasure on Halley's Comet. Never mind, he says, look at you. He's been across 3 galaxies and countless centuries, and he's never met a woman like her. His fellow strongman would agree too. Atlas, his name is. He drools over her too, but she tells him about that she only has these powers for 24 hours. Superman gave them to her for her birthday. While Superman ascended in the background, down from space, retrieving the giant dinosaur before he perished. The lady's with me, he says. How about a challenge? For who she will spend the day with. A challenge of the ages, they say. They will all perform a feat of strength in her honour. I defeated Krull, Samson says. And I defeated his army, says Atlas. There isn't much left for you to do, Superman. They return the reptile man to his underground home. The descendants of the dinosaurs who escaped extinction live here. It's amazing, she says. As amazing as these crown jewels he stole from the Ultra Sphinx back in the First Dynasty. But they're made of uranium, Superman says. It's lethal. But she can wear them for 24 hours. As Samson brags on how he's better than Clark. Atlas tries to swoon her too by saying all kinds of stuff like he can even crush diamond in his bare hands for her. Superman is jealous and confronts her about flirting with the other two. That'll teach you a lesson for impersonating Clark Kent, she says. But he's not impersonating him, and she knows Superman would beat them both, but it's her birthday and she's having fun. He tells Samson how much he doesn't like him, but Samson reveals his newspaper from the future. He is a time traveler after all. She won't be a girl for too much longer, he says. Her jewels start to glow and she thinks it's a part of the gift, but it's not. Lois, no! He screams. It's the Ultra Sphinx, he's here for his jewels. They couldn't fight him, so they brought him to Superman for help. He swears that if she's hurt, they'd both get thrown into the Phantom Zone forever. They will fight by his side if need be, and they all walk up ready to battle. They surrender, he says. He accepts that response and departs. That was easy. What about our contest, they say? That wasn't a feat of strength. Even the S on his back is yellow, just like him, they say. On a random rock in the middle of the ocean, they arm wrestle in Lois's name. He's not even trying and he's winning. He snaps Samson's arm and defeats Atlas. Easy peasy. Later on they party in Atlantis and then they fly into the atmosphere. Lois just had the best birthday ever. The birthday gift wears off and she falls asleep, while in the back of Superman's mind lurks a terrible truth he must eventually face. Death is waiting for him. Jimmy Olsen, Superman's best friend, has a column he writes in the newspaper every week. It's called For a Day section, where he goes out and tries different jobs for the day and he writes about them. Well, right now he's in space, and for the next 24 hours he'll be walking in the shoes of the world's most eccentric zillionaire daredevil on the dark side of the moon. Jimmy Olsen presents, I was project director for a day. So his assistant for the day is showing him around when they pass the Doomsday Vault, which holds inside the secret of transforming soldiers into unstoppable killing machines. But that's for a different day. Then they make their way to the Underverse room. The Underverse is a newly discovered basement level hidden beneath the known universe, where they explore the world of super heavy gravity. And suddenly the walkway begins to break, and Jimmy falls, catching onto the ledge before his demise. He reaches out to touch his other arm, because on that wrist is his saviour, his Superman watch, that calls him anytime he's in danger. Superman leaps into action and pulls Jimmy from the pink soup of death. And he manages to pull out what they were searching for in there too. It's black kryptonite. Jimmy's worried, but since he became immune to the green kind, he's feeling alright, he says, while carving his logo into the side of the table. You'd be dead without me, he says to Jimmy. He's acting strange now, going on to say, "Don't mind that cheap moon-based furniture. I probably increased its value just by signing it." Then he smashes the table into pieces. It's getting worse. Everything's gone opposite. He knows now what the black kryptonite does. "It makes me bad," he says, and he's starting to like it. He blows a hole in the roof and takes off, leaving Jimmy exposed to the atmosphere. All the bizarros and the giant monster tried to stop him, but it's no use. Jimmy looks out at the chaos. Well, it's doomsday, right? He's starting to destroy Earth now, and also starting to speak like a bizarro. Jimmy gets teleported down and faces him with a weird gun thing. Superman shoots lasers at him, but he blocks it with his super watch, and then he jabs himself with the gun. Jimmy is Doomsday. They start to fight immediately, trading blow for blow, but Jimmy only has about 30 seconds left before it overloads his system. Superman is getting weaker as Jimmy pummels him with lasers. "No die, Superman. No can die," he pleads. Jimmy holds him close as he returns to human form. He's done it. Later, he's back at the base, still recovering. Superman thanks him and orders that the black kryptonite be put in a lead-lined box in his trophy room. What a day, Jimmy thinks. What a day. The trial of Lex Luthor, Attila the Hun, Genghis Khan, Al Capone, Adolf Hitler, and Lex Luthor. Lex reveres all these men as heroes and role models. Even himself, by the way. He says Superman made him do it, but we know the truth. Guilty on charges of crimes against humanity, he is sentenced to death by the electric chair. Clark Kent goes to Stryker's Island prison to get an interview from the dastardly fellow. Lex is in his cell inventing away at some contraption. "Walk with me," he says. Lex asks Clark if he ever feels inferior when Superman is around. I think we can see why he doesn't like him. Lex goes on and on about what life would be like on this planet if some alien vermin hadn't decided to dump its trash here. "You don't act like someone on death row," Clark says. He brushes off the question and asks how Superman is these days. "Pale? Tired?" "He seems fine," Clark responds. "He's not," Luthor replies. "He just looks that way." They make their way to the rest of the facility where people yell and scream at Lex, threatening to kill him. But it's not just people. It's Parasite. Lex thinks he can take him. When suddenly he expands and breaks free, he feeds on huge energy sources. Like say if Superman were to fly by, that may have given him the power he needs to escape. So he charges towards Clark and Lex's direction, while Clark tries to get out of there. Chaos ensues. Guards begin to fire smoke bombs everywhere while the prisoners fight. Clark disappears into the smoke for a split second while Lex is relaxed, but someone comes from behind him when he doesn't notice, with a gun pointed at his head, but Clark falls into him, knocking him out of the way. The guards all seem to be outside somehow, but they all give each other the same look. Superman. Luthor grabs Clark holding a gun as they get ready to get out of this situation. Clark uses his heat vision to burst some pipes to slow the others down, and then freeze at them, of course. Luthor doesn't see all the chaos behind him. As Clark uses his X-ray vision to look through the wall, he can see a giant parasite heading directly for them. He crashes through the wall, and Luthor begins to shoot as they run away. "Hungry," it groans. It's getting so big by being near Clark that it begins to collapse the facility. The floor caves in and Luthor stomps him out, screaming about his victory. Nobody gets in Luthor's way. Everything calms down, and they continue on their tour, and Lex brings Clark to a janitor's closet. Inside there's a monkey dressed as Superman. "Evening, Leopold," he says, as he opens a hatch in the floor and explains that this is his escape hatch. There's an underground passage to a lake with a boat waiting for him with a young lady inside. This is the lovely Nostalgia. She's 18 She speaks 30 languages and she wants to rule the world one day. Bless her. Call me nasty, she says. Clark argues with Lex, saying why is he laying down to die like a dog? Him and Superman could be friends. I'm a born dictator, Lex says, and he'll die first. He then goes on to explain how he used the sun to slowly kill him from within. I killed Superman, he says. If it wasn't for Superman, I'd be in charge of this planet. Now he's dying. What more could I want? Pa Kent is reminiscing on how he and Ma Kent couldn't have a baby. But one night he went out into his field to pray, and not long after, Clark appeared. They're just chatting away, but suddenly what looks like a meteor hits Earth in front of them. It's Krypto. Clark is ecstatic and begins to play with his best friend. He rips out an old tree from the ground and tosses it directly into the atmosphere. Krypto gives chase while Clark cheers. All is well on the Clark family farm. Until a man approaches the couple. I hear you're looking for good men for the harvest, Mr. Kent, he says. Meanwhile, Clark and Krypto dance through the vacuum of space. Sound can't travel there, but they didn't need sound to understand the enjoyment on each other's faces. The next morning they introduce Clark to the new help they have on the farm. One of them was a normal looking chap named Calvin Elder, he goes by. The other has bandages all over his body. And the other guy, well, he looks like a little old man. Later, Superman and Krypto are on the farm silo, listening to the strange men's conversation. They have powers. And suits. And they're talking about something called a chronovore. Until they look behind them and a man is floating there dressed just like him. Were you born on Krypton, he asks. No, here on Earth. Just 861,000 years from now, he says. His name is Kal Kent, and he's the Superman of AD 853,500. As a member of the Superman squad, I fight alongside the Supermen of many different eras to protect the structure of space and time. Clark is flabbergasted. The others soon reveal themselves too. The unknown Superman of 4500 AD, and I can't pronounce that, but he's the Superman of the 5th dimension. So, Supermen of the future? They're after a chronovore monster that they've been hunting for 10 centuries already. But no time to talk, the monster is here. It ages everything it touches, and they attack while they can, but they tell him to stand back. But he wants to help, he's Superman. And they try to hold him, but he's just too strong. The little one uses his gun to chain the beast. You can't stop me, Clark says. But Calvin is stronger, faster, and able to leap from world to world in a single bound. He's even telepathic. But he doesn't have a dog on his side. While they fight, the unknown Superman goes to speak to Pa Kent about the harvest. He worries about Clark, even now. Stay back, the little one says, but he doesn't listen. I tried to warn you. If you face the chronovore, it will eat a precious 3 minutes of your life. And in those 3 minutes, Jonathan Kent suffered a fatal heart attack. He's still fighting off the monster, too busy to notice until... I can't hear his heartbeat, he says. I can save him. Not my pa. I can save everybody. His funeral happened shortly after. The Man of Steel reduced to a little boy in the presence of his loved one's death. He's broken. The Supermen prepare to leave, but the unknown Superman begins to take off his bandages. He had to conceal his identity from his younger self, because that's how he remembers it. He just wanted to see his pa again. Before they get the chance to leave, More super people emerge from a portal. One made of gold, it seems like. This day, it was one of your legendary 12 labourers, he says. This is an indestructible flower from New Krypton. For him, from all of us. In remembrance of all that we are, and all that we will be. Rest in peace, Pa Kent. Superman is battling a Sun Eater, and when he's attacked. But attacked by who, that is? Metropolis is at ease, but one cold winter's night, meteors rain from above. The Daily Planet staff are celebrating in their offices when they finally attack. It's the Bizarros. If they touch you, you transform into one of them. They dispatch them out the window, pretty easily, and begin to run for their lives. Among the meteors that fall is a ginormous explosion, bigger than the rest. It's Bizarro Superman. But our Superman we know and love is dead to save the day. The city is in ruins by now, but Bizarro doesn't give Clark a chance to save it. He shields an airboy child and blasts Bizarro into the atmosphere. The planet's staff tried to escape on the roof via a blimp, but the Bizarros weigh them down. Until Clark steps in, of course. It seems the Bizarro's planet, Cube World, is on a collision course with Earth. They've killed hundreds already, and the planet's gravity is already affecting the tides. Cube World isn't just a planet, it's its own living organism. Take that out and Bizarros will follow. Clark wishes Lois a Merry Christmas because he knows it'll be a while before they see each other again. He has a job to do. He zips through space and onto the horrible planet, crushing one of its poles in hopes that it will revert its course and retreat from Earth. It's working. It's going back to the Underverse where it belongs. But what about Clark? On Cube World, Bizarros speak backwards. So they tried to surrender, but they say they will never surrender, and they want to fight more. Meaning the opposite, of course. He tries to fly home, but his powers are already fading due to him not being able to see the sun anymore. He'll die here if it takes any longer. Someone begins to speak to him. They sound like a Bizarro, but they're making sense. 1 in every 5 billion copies is flawed. Unique. Different. Alone, suffering in a world of confusion. Who? Says Superman. Call me Zabaro. Superman frantically looks for a way off this garbage heap of a planet. The planet is afraid of him. So it begins to create Bizarros based on his memories to calm him down. It speaks to its citizens, all except Zabaro. He's actually conscious. Zabaro expresses to Clark how alone he is on this planet. 5 billion citizens, he says. 5 billion. But not one can have a conversation. No intellect, no thoughts, no feelings. Just me. Alone. I'm as trapped here as you are, he says, feeling defeated. He's trapped here until something called the All Night, which is when all Bizarros return to the black sludge, all becoming one again, and he will lose his independence. But Superman's in luck. Because it's creating people from his memories, it creates a Bizarro Jor-El, aka his dad. And what did his dad do? That's right, you guessed it. He created a rocket to get off a dying planet. There's hope. The planet wants him to leave right now, so Superman gathers materials and shows the Bizarros what a wheel is and how it works. But they don't listen. But he begins to catch on to their language and grabs their attention once more. They boo! But they're actually cheering. It's working. He might get home yet. The planet is still creating people from his memories. Green Lantern and Flash make an appearance. But he's getting weaker and he can't focus, and things are getting heavier for him, even though he is Superman. Zabaro sits down to talk to him and tell him there's only room for one person on the rocket. And he's suggesting that he wants it, not Superman. But Clark brings him down from his lofty dreams and tells him that he will just die on re-entry to Earth. It's time. The Bizarros begin to sing. They're leaving without him. He's too weak to go against them. They all chant for Zabaro to go. It's his only chance to ever leave this horrible place. But what if he found out that he was just as lonely on Earth as he is here? So he changes his mind and he helps him up. Straps him to the rocket. Zabaro, you are my friend, and I know we'll meet again, Superman says. The rocket ignites, and away he goes. The people of Earth stand by as something seems to crash onto Earth from space. Not for the first time anyways. He's back. Superman is back. He flies off to check the damage left from the invasion. Guess he hasn't heard about his replacements, says the local farmer. He stops dead in his tracks. Metropolis, it looks like Krypton. But how? He returns to his job and Lois, of course, and he learns that he's been gone for 2 months of Earth time. But Earth has new champions now, apparently. A man and a woman emerge from a volcano dressed in yellow. Superman goes to meet them. Bar-El and Lilo. They told me about you. The first astronauts from planet Krypton, who drifted lost in space for decades. He explains he's from there too, but they're not impressed. They say he could have built a new Krypton from the dirt of this planet. But that's not his place to do, he says. Also, they are currently living in his fortress of solitude, which he's not particularly happy about. They tell him that he shouldn't have just left the keys lying around then. They continue to patronise him, and they even get rid of his parents' statues. They berate him on why he hasn't fixed the bottle people of Kandor yet. You know, the ones Brainiac miniaturized? He just can't do it yet. When he first heard about them from the people of Earth, Superman thought they could have been his successors for, when he's eventually gone. But now he understands what he has to do. They begin to fight, and Superman is weak. He's only after gaining his powers back. They throw him into the moon, cracking it in half, before blasting him back to Earth. All hail New Krypton, they say. You've broken the moon, he says sadly. And then they begin to patch it up using bridges from across the globe as stitches. He returns to his office, but they find him. They tell him to reveal himself to his colleagues, but Lilo starts to feel a bit woozy and faints, dropping to the ground. But he catches her, and Bar-El tries to attack him, but he feels weak too. They apparently pass through a radioactive cloud in space, and turning the minerals into their bodies to toxic kryptonite. Their bodies are poisoning them. They survived all this way only to die on Earth. He offers his help, but they won't accept it. Bar-El screams for Lilo, but he can't see anymore. They awaken Superman's care. Both of them can only speak telepathically now. But they will soon pass. The only way they will survive now is if their bodies get dematerialized into the Phantom Zone forever. We go together, they say, as he pushes the button and sends them to their new home forever. It's 7:02 AM and Clark is out saving innocents and visiting sick children yet again. 11:25 PM. I, Kal-El of Krypton, being of sound mind, declare that this is my final dispensation. Superman's last will and testament. There's so little time left now. The end is getting closer, and there is still so many things I've yet to achieve. The time traveller Samson told me I'd complete 12 legendary super challenges before my death. I would answer the unanswerable question. Overcome the tyrant sun, Solaris. Even create life. Each challenge, of course, brings me closer to my death. And by my reckoning, I've accomplished 7 so far. No time to lose. Later, Superman shrinks Leo Quintum, the zillionaire genius, down to the size of the people of Kandor to try and come up with a way to make them big again before he goes. 12:01 AM. So when I'm gone, when I'm not around anymore, to protect them from the mad scientists and the monsters and themselves, can they survive their own self-destructive urges? There was only one way to study a world without Superman. I had to make one. Deep in the tangled briar of gas clusters that forms in the barely beating heart of the sickly infant universe of QWEWQ, I found a promising speck of grit. I applied a nano-optical transfusion of pure solar energy. Earth Q breathed it in. There on hostile shores of infinitesimal oceans, life seized its moment. 4:35 PM. He stopped the runaway train like the old days, and he finds a lead box which looks like a time capsule, but the date is 2312. So it's from the future. Weird. But in the distance, something is shouting for his attention. Die, Superman, die! It's a giant robot. It blasts him with a laser, slowing him down until he notices it's holding Lois. It taunts him, but he doesn't have any time to spare. He takes it out with ease. It's just a man with Alzheimer's, Lois says. She let herself be caught so she could get his attention. Why don't you want to talk, she says. Then she reveals that Leo Quintum told her he's dying, and she knows. She tells him he can't die, and he has to find a way. But as she spoke, he saw the dead skin cells explode like confetti under his skin. He tells her they could never have children anyway. But she tells him that there's always a way. He hears something important. He tells her he has to go. A young girl is standing on a rooftop, about to end it all. He swoops behind her and tells her that it's never as bad as it seems, and that she's stronger than she thinks she is. Just trust him. Back on Kandor, 5 of its emergency corps have listened to Professor Quintum's proposals and have got inspired. They might have a plan to save Superman. 1:35 PM. He's finally replaced all the bridges the astronauts once stole. On Earth Q, the Earth that he created, cavemen are beginning to gain intelligence and forming societies. 5:13 PM. You won, Luthor. I'm dying, he says. All that good work you said you would have done if I wasn't here, well, now you can. You have 3 weeks. I know there's good in you. Earth Q is getting closer and closer to the modern age. 11:20 PM. My 8th challenge is on the way. Almost completed my new suit. 4:30 PM. Superman and Leo are on Mars. They decided to let the people of Kandor start their own new society. They're away from the people of Earth. They will always be as powerful as him, but far enough away to interfere with human life. And to Professor Quintum, he leaves a book with his entire 8 billion letter sequence of his DNA, along with instructions on how to combine human and Kryptonian strands. To Lois, I leave our future. 6:45 PM. The Kandor Emergency Corps are inside Superman's blood trying to fight off the dying cells, but they've failed. But he knew that would happen. He only needed them to keep him alive for today's tasks. He knew they couldn't save him. But human diseases would be no match for microscopic Kandorian super doctors. They could cure anything. So he drops by the children's hospital once again to tell them that they should be home before the week is over. He brought some friends along that might be able to help. On Earth Q, their society has advanced so much in the past few days. I really think this is it. 3rd time lucky. This is the one. This is going to change everything. Earth Q shows that even a society without the Man of Steel, they will create their own Superman. 11:49 PM. and to Clark Kent, the mild-mannered reporter who never let me forget how it feels to be a downtrodden ordinary man, I leave the headline of the century. It's time for Luthor to meet his maker. He's in the electrical chair. He's ready. How does it feel to kill the man that could have cured your sister's cancer, he asks. Too late for her, Luthor. And too late for you. They pull the switch and he gets injected with 1,000,000 volts. He's finally dead. He's alive. That last meal they allowed him to have contained the last perfect cocktail. He just drank a 24-hour superpower serum. And that'll be Mr. Luthor to you, he says, as he fries the guard with his new heat vision. He breaks free as they shoot him, but it does no damage. He melts the door and he's free. Meanwhile, Superman is at his fortress releasing his baby Sun-Eater back into the atmosphere. He's becoming too weak to do anything. He tells his robot to look after the Bizarro animals when he's gone, and to hang up a piece of Zabaro's poetry in his trophy room. He's been blessed with pals like Pete, Lana, Jimmy, and even Batman. But Lois is the one he's loved most, and no matter how dark it seems, there's always a way. Back at Lex's lair, he begins to build something to help him fight Superman, because he's not stupid enough to go toe to toe with him even if he has powers. But he knows he loses his powers under a red sun, so he called in a favour. Superman, face the tyrant sun, scourge of worlds. Luthor's secret ally is here. My final adventure is about to begin. This is Superman signing out. He's ready. His Superbots follow behind him. Fort Superman is closing down. Seal the fortress, he says. Come, Superman, come die. Impossible. Why not powerless in my red rays? He created his solar suit to protect him from the red rays. Too late. I will kill your son. And you. The fight begins and he shows off some new powers. When you are dead, I will replace the sun in the sky, it says. Your people will kneel and pray to me, or die in darkness. It's stealing the robot's data. It's sending them to Luthor. But he manages to break off a limb. Look who's here to help. It's his pet. He's returned to help his master. The natural enemy of a living solar computer, Tyrant Sun, meet Sun-Eater. Superman continues to fight, getting weaker and weaker, but the Tyrant Sun is too strong. It kills the Sun-Eater. Killed him! You killed him! He screams as he continues to pummel it. Meanwhile on Earth, Lex's niece is causing mayhem in Metropolis. But while that's happening, the Sun Tyrant begins to fall in the sky, crashing down violently into a building. He's been told that in the 24th century, the Sun Tyrant will actually help humanity. So rehab starts now. Mercy, it asks. But it'll live. He flies as quick as possible to the planet's office. He has to finish his headline for tomorrow. He gets there and collapses with his laptop open. There's no heartbeat. Clark is gone. Clark is the least of your worries. Kal-El and his father Jor-El begin to board his ship. I'm dead, Kal-El. Me, your mother, and all of our people died on Krypton. You too are dead. All of our history, our art, our lives has died with you. But you have a choice. and the choice is simple. To remain at play within a field of living fluid consciousness, or to turn and face down evil one last time. Back at the planet, Luther is out for revenge on the people who got him sent to the chair. Lois tries to get him to relate to her as she has felt the powers for 24 hours too. But he doesn't care. But if I'm dead, then Superman is dead. There was one more labour. There was always one more. Your work is done. You have shown them the face of the man of tomorrow. You have given them something to strive towards. My life is gone, but Krypton lives on in you. You will survive and be reborn. Back at the planet, they're trying to revive Clark while Jimmy tells Luther that the sun is blue. The tyrant's son double-crossed him, but he blows them away, calling them idiots. Lois! He's back. Luther continues to rage on. Anyone else feel like acting out in front of the most powerful man on Earth? There's me, Lex. Clark tells him to leave his friends alone, and that he's not able to hold the power he's wielding. Lex thinks he's trying to impress Lois, but notices he's holding something. It's a gravity gun, and he blasts Luther out the window with it. Jimmy goes to hand Clark a super suit, faking to everyone else that the real Clark is safe in his fortress of solitude. Leave Luther to me, he says. Luther lands and is furious. Kent? No. He gets blasted again as Superman hides. Lex Luthor uses his X-ray vision to spot him. Superman has planned this since his robot started to leak data to the Sun Tyrant. No, damn you. If I die, you die first, Lex shouts. Superman is down and Lex drags him into the light for the world to see. But he's in a state of amazement. His super senses are showing him the world and explaining how things tick much faster than they should be. He begins to cry. It's so beautiful to him. But he doesn't realise. The gravity gun is warping time around him, forcing his metabolism to accelerate, and his 24-hour powers just ran out. You were right, Lex. Brain beats brawn every time. You should be dead by now, he says, reaching into his pocket for more serum. I could have saved the world if it wasn't for you, Lex screams. But Superman is sick of his talk and just decks him. You could have saved the world years ago if it mattered to you. Lois runs to him. He has just enough power to attempt his final feat. No one but him can save the sun. I love you, Lois Lane, until the end of time. I love you, Superman, she shouts after him, crying. It's time. As he heads straight towards his destiny, Lois holds his cape, while he holds the fate of the world in his hands. Miss Lane, you sure you don't want to say something at Superman's memorial service? It's been a whole year since he disappeared and thousands of people just turned up to pay their respects. Superman's not dead. We published that headline as a warning to be carried back through time. Maybe some people believe it, but I know he's up there building an artificial heart to keep the sun alive. He'll be back when he's done, Jimmy. And when he's done, he knows where to find me. But what if Superman never returns? What then, Mr. Quintum? I wouldn't worry too much about that day, Agatha. Now that we know how it's done, I'm sure we'll think of something. Well, everyone, that's the end of the tale of Superman. All-Star Superman. What a journey it has been. This video has taken me so long to write, record, get all the clips for, everything. So, if you enjoyed the video, I don't think anyone will make it this long, but if you did, please, please, please like, share and subscribe. Comment. I love reading comments, so please do that if you can. But yeah, let me know what you thought of the video. I really loved it. It's definitely been a journey. So, peace.